Hi, I'm Dean Sage.
And I'm Jack Curvin.
And this is Show Me Your Deck,
a podcast where we explore the intersections of oracles and chakras,
using our original decks to create new insights. We're at 19.
I know, 19 episodes in.
19. That's 19 weeks we've been doing this. It's nice.
Yeah.
It
feels good to keep finding new combinations in the decks. That's even what we say in the introduction, and we say it every time, and I don't necessarily think about it because we just say it. But I have 4 decks. You have your one, but yours is a complete reinvention of the tarot. Mine is just 4 reinventions of whatever it is I do. And when they cross over on each other like this, it's like, you can't get these kind of readings anywhere else. You really can't.
The fact that we both utilize chakral systems, and I did mine in response to yours too, just to be fair. Like you've been working with your haiku. Like, when did you start? How many years ago?
2019, and it's 2024 now.
Yeah, so five years ago.
And I conceived doing it about 5 years before that. So
I was moved by the chakral integration, and I realized that the tarot has a chakral integration that not many people utilized, and I kind of wanted to go out there and get it.
I'm really proud of our decks. I know this isn't the way we usually start shows, but I just have to gush a little bit. We do beautiful work.
We do. We do beautiful work. I hope if you haven't gone over and looked at the YouTube, you can see our beautiful work on the YouTube, and subscribe to the podcast there if you prefer to have visuals while you listen. If not, obviously you're hearing us, I should say, in your podcast player of choice. So we're happy you're here.
Okay, so let's roll the die.
Roll the die.
The tetrahedron to figure out which of the 4 decks we're going to use. Deck number 4, that is the haiku deck, the most abstract of the 4. Number 43, way up high. Way up high. And it's actually the very beginning of the crown sequence. So this is where crown touches crown. This is where ether, akasha, touches ether, akasha. So where morality touches morality, where purpose touches purpose. And the haiku is, galaxies collide, never touching. I am I? 0 holds Google.
Okay, I'm going to have that last part again.
Galaxies collide, never touching. I am I? 0 holds Google.
Okay, I still can't understand the last thing that you're saying.
So Google is a 1 followed by 100 zeros.
Oh, okay. I was hearing Google and trying to figure out what the hell that had to do with this haiku.
Google. 0 holds Google.
Okay.
So here we are, starting it off right at the beginning of the crown sequence. Well,
this is always my favorite / not favorite, and the crown touching the crown is very, very high up.
Pure crown. Don't worry about anything else right now. How is the crown re-influencing itself?
It's just so high up there.
Reach, baby.
We've been doing so well with pulling the lower chakras. Then you're
no. It's starting to float away a little bit.
No, and the haiku deck, like the haiku deck plus, there's so much. Tell me about this haiku, because the images of the galaxies is very striking. And if you've ever seen an animation of Andromeda and the Milky Way colliding, it's so interesting because it collides and yes, but it never touches.
And that's the point of the haiku. Because the distances are so vast and the time frame is so long that almost no stars will actually collide with other stars. Everything will just pass through everything else, and they'll do flybys, and there'll be some stuff that's jolted out of its orbit, but not really a lot of collision. Now, on the super scale from far away, it looks like, oh my God, it's splashing together, it's making all this madness. But what I've read, what I've come to understand is that most sentient beings, things that live through it, won't even know it's happening.
The night sky will change.
Yep. And they won't know anything else.
But it'll happen so slowly. Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea that galaxies collide but never touch. I am. Am I? So there's the statement and then the question.
Now, I am is the root chakra, though, right?
Mm-hmm, it is.
Okay.
But then the question is, am I? And then it ends with the idea that zero holds Google. That when you write a Google out, it's mostly zeros, mostly empty places. Then suddenly you got this one, and it's a big one. But until you get to that big one, it's just a bunch of empty placeholders. So the idea that the infinite reaches in both directions, you have the extreme danger of colliding, but then the very low chance of it actually happening. You have the idea that you are here because you're here listening to this, you're having this conversation, but then we always are asking questions like, well, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Am I just a brain in a jar that doesn't know it's connected to the matrix? So I am I? I don't know. And, the way we make mountains out of molehills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see that.
So the way in which we're safe, perhaps in the midst of abject chaos, and can still feel completely and totally separated from it or ignorant of it completely, to know that a galaxy is colliding and you have no idea.
That's a lot. But it's
in the movie Ant-Man, I think they go down into the quantum dimension or something, and it's kind of similar there, where you are now so small that you're in this other reality that has no idea that it's existing inside of our mundane lives.
The quantum realm, a completely separate place from the macro world, having its own life, its own galaxies and things. The idea of the quarks and such, being their own stars. And
so maybe, we can disagree. It can evolve from here, but maybe the reminder here is that you are so very important and precious. You don't matter at all at the same time. You are so important. And you're really not, but you are, but you're not.
Well, it's the cosmic ocean. It's the drops in the cosmic ocean. Every drop is precious, and yet you are nothing in comparison.
And we're the tiny blue pixel.
I was listening to, I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about how small and how almost inconsequential the Earth is, that aliens might even just miss it.
Yeah, just not find it at all. Despite all of our radio blabbering, it will take so long for them to even find the message that we might not even be here anymore. So, the arrogance of presuming that we're interesting enough to be found. So how you can simultaneously be so consequential and so not.
Well, it's a good place to start because it's a duality. I am I. It is the duality of enlightenment, right? It's
before we move on, it's the idea that you have to take responsibility for your actions, even though ultimately they don't matter.
Yep.
You do have to live a responsible life, even if it never is remembered. You still need to do it. Mm-hmm. So it takes in some ways, it can take a lot of pressure off you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's pull from my deck here. Please, nothing super high. Let's
bring us back down.
Oh, yay. We pulled the root chakra.
What'd you get?
Pulled the root chakra.
Oh, good.
I have the 6 of seeds. Gather so that you may share.
This came up in one of our readings recently.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did it? Well, it sounds familiar. I think we've heard it before.
I think we did. Gather so that you may share. So in the tarot, this would be the 6 of Pentacles, And there's an idea of generativity, of having enough to share, having enough to get by. It comes after the Five of Pentacles, which is about fallow and maybe not having what you wanted. Actually, our shadow card, which we didn't talk about on the previous podcast, was the Five of Pentacles, or sorry, the Four of Pentacles. So we've gone 4 or 5. We didn't have the 5. We had 1, 4 to 6. But the idea here is that you are sowing these seeds. You're growing these harvests. You've gotten good at it. You are capable. And then now you have the opportunity to either hoard that or to share that. And the message that I kind of wanted to go with here is to share. So gather, but make it the point of what you're doing is to share, like, the purpose for what you're doing. And going back to the crown chakra, which just came up with purpose and such. And this is the root chakra, where we go back to fear and safety and the root elements of being. This is really the I am I that we had in the haiku.
Well, and the idea also that sharing is important. You can't take it with you. Whatever it is you have, that's great. The pharaohs tried it. We have all their stuff in museums now. Mm-hmm. So share. It's, there's a very, very long, complicated chain of butterfly effects happening. So share.
Well, but make it your purpose to share. Like, make it the purpose of the work that you do is to share, is to increase the community, to respond to the needs of others. Make that your purpose. Don't make your purpose just to gather. Gather so that you can share it. Gather so that you can spread it. And I think that goes back to the crown versus crown touching crown. Asking what is my purpose here? What am I here to do? And so many of us, unless you're incredibly wealthy, which congratulations if you are, and you're listening to this podcast, I have questions. But if that's your life,
call me.
Yeah, let me know. But yeah, like all of us, you probably have to gather. We have to work. We have to sow. We have to go out and do things in order to get money to live. But what's the purpose of that gathering? That's so important, because as you do it every day, what's your purpose in it? What are you doing it for?
Mm-hmm. I like how we got the top and the bottom.
Yes. That we can just fill in the rest. And
well, it leaves a lot of space for filling in. There's 5 chakras in between there. So it allows you to explore your instinct, your actions, your connections, what you say, what your interests are, and what you learn. Why. It all goes back to, what your purpose is, why you're doing it, and having a sense of consequence for being here, even if it's only for a blip.
Truth. Let's get some more context. Let's roll some dice.
Okay, so which deck will it be? Number 2. These are the professions, just quite literal statements of affirmation. Number 3. I already know what this one's going to be, because it's one of my 49. It's one of my favorites of the whole 49. So I already know what number 3 is. I don't even have to see the card. I profess that I am the architect who builds my life. This is Muladhara, root, earth, red, and how it's influenced by solar plexus, Manipura, yellow, fire. I profess that I am the architect who builds my life. I love this card.
Well, it's a very powerful card. What's the image that goes with this?
In the book, I'm pretty sure this is the kiln where you put unfinished clay or unfinished porcelain of some kind into the fire in order to finish it and then take it forward with purpose. So whether it's bricks or china or, whatever else you might be firing in a kiln, taking something from the earth yourself and then doing something with it.
So we had crown touching crown. We had root, but root with purpose, right? So crown purpose, root with purpose. And now we have action with purpose.
Yep. So this sounds like a call to action once So it's interesting because I'm hearing a call to action here for goodness, just for its own sake.
Well, you profess that you're the architect. What's the vision? What is it that you're building?
That's the life. What life do you want? Where's your intention going? What materials are you using? What are you doing with them? So if you're the architect who builds your life, you are the one who is learning, directing, acting, and creating consequence. What do you want that to be? What do you want you are the cause. What effect do you want?
That's what I'm hearing is you have the power in this case. It's not others. It's not other things. And I think this, we were just talking about work. Yes, someone else directs your work, but you have chosen to do it. You have chosen to be there. It is part of your power that you have to be there to do that work and to share that purpose. And obviously, if that's not where you find yourself, then, it's important for you to maybe search for that. I know not everybody has as much choice in employment as others do, but I think this goes back to reminding you that no matter what circumstance you find yourself in, you have the power to be the architect, to be the designer, that what you do is your own choice, that it is not up to others. It is not because of others. It is solely because of you and what you do. And keeping that central to your process and central to your belief system means that you don't feel like you're being thrown about or strung about in some way, that you are your creator, you are your inventor. It's funny, number 3 in the major arcana is what I call the creator, but is also the not the high priestess, the empress. There we go. I was about to lose it. So the number 3 is a really interesting number just in itself from like a numerology perspective. But like I said, I call the empress the creator. But there's again an idea of movement, of power, of creation. She represents the intersection of the throat chakra and the third chakra that we're talking about.
Interesting.
So a call to action, but a call to responsibility, I think.
I'm glad you said that. That was the word I was waiting to come up. So you do all this, and if it doesn't go quite the way you expected, you still have to be responsible for it. I was hoping you were going to say the word responsible.
Well, I think we can get a little bit more context. Although it's shaping up. We went high, we went low, and now we're kind of
filling it in.
Filling it in, yeah. Well, I think it's nice that the third chakra came up because there's a reminder there that we have the power within us. Oh, and we went back high. So we went to the third eye chakra here. So this is number 8 of the major arcana, strengthen, which is the strength card in the tarot. Remember who you are. You have the strength. So this is the intersection of the third eye with the root chakra. Remember who you are. You have the strength.
This just amplifies the card we drew before it.
Yes, absolutely.
I love it when this stuff happens. It's like, yep, I said what I meant and I meant what I said.
The decks are very definitive sometimes.
Well, yeah, well, right now. Right now, yeah.
Well, I call mine sassy because she does seem to call you out when there's a moment to do so. They won't let you kind of wiggle away. It'll be like, nope, I'm going to pin you down.
I said what I said.
All right. So we've got a message here that began with the crown, began with really a question of who are you and what's your purpose, and then rooted us immediately in the fact that our purpose has a very physical, real presence to it, right? So I think it's one thing to say, oh, I have purpose in my life. My purpose is to share joy with others. And I mean, no, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, where we came to the architect. Like, what are you doing? And even architects I have problems with because I've been dealing with them at work. They have ideas, and then I'm like, well, where are we going to put the cord? Like it's lovely. It's lovely that you have this idea about how to design this laboratory, but where are we going to put the cord so we don't trip on it? Like, really, really get down to the basics. If you're going to put the seeds in a row, make sure that you don't trip over them in the process.
Mm-hmm. And stomp on them.
Yeah. There's a real question of here as you bring your purpose into reality, you need to do so with groundedness, with rootedness to what you're doing. But then even so, strength is power, takes action. You have the strength within you to do it. And that's really important to remember because, again, it's through the architect of yourself. You have the strength within yourself. You don't need someone else to do it for you, help you do it. You can have cheerleaders. You can have people along with you that are there to help you and make you better, but you don't need them to do this. You can do this. You have it within you.
The reminder here is that you are capable.
Yeah.
You are capable of accomplishing this beautiful design.
That you've drawn up without worrying about who to trip on things. So
yeah, well, there's that.
Be thoughtful in your architecture.
Dream, and remember that people have to actually work here.
Yes. Just the little things.
Yeah. I want to roll the dice.
Oh, you want to roll the dice?
Can I? Or, I mean, if you're feeling it buzzing on your fingertips, then
I was kind of feeling it buzzing. Well, let's do this. Let's both go.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, and oh hell. Okay. What? How is that possible?
What?
Am I looking at this right? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. What did you pull?
I'm not showing you yet. What did you do?
Okay, well, we're going to deck number 1.
Okay.
My sassy one. Okay. And it's number 43.
Okay.
That's the one we opened with.
That's the one we opened with.
Okay. Well, here it is. Perfection is a bully. Broaden your perspective. Look at the details. Decide what matters. Perfection is a bully. Broaden your perspective. Look at the details. Decide what matters.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and bully strikes me just because of last episode in our members only segment, we talked about bullies. But perfection is a bully. Perfection is a huge bully. It absolutely robs you of so many things.
You know what? This is a reminder? You're capable. We just had that card. You are capable. And you have to take action. But it doesn't have to be perfect before you start. Don't let perfection stop you from taking your action.
This is so important because I feel it in my work, and maybe we'll talk about that in the member segment, but I feel this of you want it to be magnificent and wonderful, and really it's about doing the work. Like, you don't have to plant a perfect harvest in order to plant a harvest. The crops may not have grown as tall as they could have, but they grew and you can eat them.
Mm-hmm. Well, even in the suggestions here, broaden your perspective is talking about getting bigger. But then it immediately says, look at the details. So going big in order to get small, and then decide what matters. So I have definitely struggled with, what is it? How do people say this in general lingo, that perfection What do they say?
Don't let the perfect be the enemy of don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Yes, that. Mm-hmm. So what did you pull?
I pulled a 10 of storms. Surrender to the storm and you will be free.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So, in addition to not allowing the perfect to be the enemy of the good, and remembering that you have the strength to take action on what you need to do, just, accepting. Read the card again.
Surrender to the storm and you will be free.
Mm-hmm. So if you have identified what your purpose is, and you know that it is something generative and generous, and you're taking action, and you know you're capable, and you're not going to allow the perfect to stop you from even starting, then this reminder is just that entire reading leading up to this moment is that you have to give yourself over to your purpose.
Yeah. This is the 10 of swords in the tarot deck, which is one of those cards where it seems like there's no good meaning to it. It's considered to be one of the few, or the only card that really does speak of like physical death in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't like that. I think that it's often a body impaled by 10 swords. It's a very visceral.
Oh, that's a lot. Okay, yeah. You know what? I actually remember seeing that one along with the tower and the hanged man. Yeah, those ones really stand out.
There's a few cards that are just like, okay, not everything is bad when you pull this card. I think it's why tarot gets a bad rap in some cases, because there's just, it seems like there's these cards that are just bad news no matter what.
Well, but it could be death of the ego and learning to accept what is.
And that's kind of where I've gone with it. Surrender to the storm. So surrender to the little death that sets you free. And that is really, I think, the capstone. That's why we came back to the crown again, because the crown, it's still, you're that tiny drop, and surrendering to that fact is how you gain all of the other stuff that we talked about, how we get to the reminder, the message that we got to has to do with surrendering.
Mm-hmm. And it allows you to lean into that responsibility, lean into that sense of purpose, understanding that it does matter. Even if it doesn't, it does. And learning to just be more accepting of situations that, I was about to say accepting things as they are. That's absolutely not what the reading is. It's about leaving the world and people better than you find them, I think.
And to your point, it's okay if it's not perfect. Well, you do it. Like I said, you planted the seeds, you watered them, you cultivated them. Yes, somebody might be better at it than you, and that's awesome. And maybe they can teach you, or maybe you can learn. Or maybe just practice makes perfect. I don't know what the case may be.
You might inspire somebody else to do it.
But it's still a harvest. It's still something you have. It's still something that you can share. It's still something that you can shape and create. It's still something that you can harden and bring to fruition. And you still have the strength within you to do it. You are your own engine, you are your own fire, you are your own power. We have a members only version of the podcast where you can get extended content where Jack and I talk about how the readings personally affect us and how we see ourselves maybe in the meanings or the outcomes. It's a wonderful time to kind of share what we felt beyond just kind of a meaning that we're gathering. We do put the show on YouTube, so if you have not seen it on YouTube, you can go to Show Your Deck. In that YouTube channel, we have set up as a podcast. glorious, beautiful pictures of all of our tarot cards as we read them, so you too can experience them and hopefully decide that you love them. Because our books and our decks are available at showyourdeck.com. You can go there and get links to purchase them. Jack's decks and his book are available for purchase. My book is free on Kindle Unlimited right now, or you can get a paperback or hardback. They are beautiful. As you flip through the pages of mine, every other page is the start of a new card. So like as you flip with the left hand, every page you stop on will be a new card. So you can kind of even just do like a flip through the book and pull a card. Kind of a deal. So we've got a lot of time and work that we put into making these very physical, wonderful objects that we hope that you will interact with. Jack, where can we find you?
I'm at 49 Haiku, the number 4, the number 9, HAIKU. The website is 49haiku.com, and on Instagram, I am at 49 Haiku.
I'm Dean Sage Media, where I am. Not YouTube. I am there, but I don't think I actually have that username. I am on Instagram and sometimes Threads, sometimes X. The show has an Instagram. It's at your deck on Instagram. And we will wish you a fond farewell.